Okay, hello everyone, myself Piyush Kumar. In the last session, we had been discussing about basically the way you need to approach to history optional for 2021 mains examination, right? And I tried to highlight two areas which are very important. One that was revision, and the second one was the answer writing, right? And I did tell you that answer writing, as far as answer writing is concerned, that's always considered to be very important, because that is actually somehow preparing you for this battle, for this or the battleground, because I think it is a kind of mock practice that you have done. And like, of course, these are very important, right? So of course, in the last class itself, last session itself, I had been discussing about the significance of the answer writing. When it comes to answer writing, I must tell you this is important in every area, whether you have been writing the answers in general studies, or else you have been writing the answers in let's say in answer writings, in essay or the optional, right? In every area it is important, and I think you should go for a balance of everything. You should try to do this practice for every area, because that's how you are getting more, let's say, you're feeling, or you start feeling more comfortable in all these sections. Okay, you are getting the chance to compare yourself with the others, because the way you can see the answers of others, and then you have this let's say, opportunity to follow the right style of answering the questions. So there are several mistakes that you have been committing, so it is far better to commit these mistakes in the test series, and to learn from making the mistakes. So this is the significance of this answer writing. So there are many things that you have been learning through this answer writing. So basically, in this particular session, we are going to focus on history optional answer writing for 2021 mains examination. You all know that pre is done, and in 3 months, like the mains is about to approach, and that's why how to do it, right? Or what are the things you should keep in mind that can really enrich that could really help you to maximize your marks. This is what we're going to discuss in in this particular session. So one thing you always fix in your mind, this is must, ये जरूरी है, ठीक है? और ये इतना जरूरी है कि इसका करना या इसको लगातार करना जो है वो आपके सेहत के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. आप बाद में ना रोए, अभी थोड़ा सा रो ले, वो उस हिसाब से, उस लहजे से काफी अच्छा है. And this is the reason because of what you have to go for it, right? You have to go for it. In the last session, I was discussing it is depending on your requirement, that whether you should go for 1, 2 or more than 2 test series. That is depending up to you, the time, your preparation, and the other convenience. Okay? So it's completely depending up to you. But when it comes to the answer writing, the most important thing, what are the things that you should keep in mind while answer writing? That's very important, at least when you have been writing it for the history optional. So of course, we have been primarily going to focus on history optional only. We won't discuss for other areas, and in fact you don't need to apply the ideas that I have been discussing here even in the other areas. This is specifically precisely for history optional, and you need to apply these ideas only for the history optional answer writing, not in any other area. Got it? So when it comes to answer writing, look, what is this answer writing? Ultimately, there is a question that has been asked. Okay? So there is a question, and you are supposed to write the answer. Right? There is a question, and you are supposed to write the answer for this. Right? So the basic idea while answer writing is, basic idea behind the answer writing is that, the basic idea behind the answer writing is that you have to target most of the dimensions what have been asked in the questions. That you should be very clear of. Okay? Since beginning, you got this clarity in your mind that you have to target, you have to write the answers of all those dimensions have been asked in question. And in fact, in every question, like, you'll find that it is not necessary that there is only one dimension. Sometimes you'll find one dimension, and sometimes you'll find instead of one, you'll find that they are multi-dimensional. Okay? And in fact, there might be many subparts, and sometimes it is framed in such a way that you find that there is only one aspect of the question, but it may be multidimensional, and that is very much decided by the tail words which is associated with the question. Suppose if it is given explain, elucidate, elaborate, these kind of terms are there, or these kind of tail words are there. So probably these are asking you to write the answer in one dimension. But instead of that, if it is written analyze, critically analyze, evaluate, examine, If these terms are there, it clearly means that it is asking for multiple dimensions, right? So first ability that you need to develop, or the skill that you need to develop, that you should understand the dimensions of the questions. Now when dimensions are there, here again I must tell you that where there is more than one dimension, then also you need to prioritize the dimensions. Okay, this is, let's say this is A part, and this should be given, let's say 60%. This is B part, and this is, this should be given only 10%, or let's say 20%. It is depending up to it. So this also you need to learn how to prioritize, because if you have really understood the priorities of the questions, in that case you'll be able to do the proper justice with the questions, right? So basically I'm trying to tell you that understanding the question and the decoding of the question is very important in answer writing, and that's why you should go for certain practice. In fact, go the previous year, see the previous year questions, and then if it is possible for you to see the see the answers of some toppers or some model answers, if they are really very good. Most of the answers that I have seen in market, unfortunately they are not up to the mark, and they are below standard. They are below the actual label, and you should not consider these kind of things. So if it is there, I think you should go for it, right? So basically, like while doing so, first thing that you should focus, that is on answer writing. That is on understanding of the question. Then the second thing which comes in, that is the answer. So if you have really understood the demands of the question, in that case the answer writing becomes very simple. Now the second thing, like normally it is known to you, it is told to you by everyone that in any answer there might be there are basically three areas, or there are three aspects. The first, which is known as the introduction, the second, which is known as the body part, and this third is known as the conclusion. These are the three dimensions. In history, there might be more than these three dimensions, but roughly it remains these three. Now first, one by one, I'll briefly discuss about them. When it comes to introduction part, this is the most tricky part of the answer, because what happens if you haven't gone for proper answer writing practice, in that case you got stuck in the first sentence itself. And at least it happened to me, and in fact this is the reason because of what I have been suggesting you, that go for these as much as possible for you practices that you feel comfortable while writing the answers in the examination hall. And I think this is one part which is known as introduction. There are definitely some marks allotted to it, but it does not mean that the majority of the marks are allotted to introduction. Sometimes you feel in this way that I should write such an impressive introduction that the evaluator should get happy with the introduction, and he should give, he or she should give complete marks, or maximum marks. But do you really think that marks are ever given to you only on the basis of the introduction? Are you writing any answer on literature as such? No, this is not the answer which is written on where you have been rewarded for the ornamental style that you have followed in your writing. And that's why don't get trapped into these things. The first line or the introduction should be so much impressive that you should get maximum marks. That possibility is not there. Ultimately, the marking pattern is a very scientific pattern, and that's why you have been getting marks for your content. And then the real content is basically here, not here and here. Of course, there are some percentage of marks are given to this and this part as well, but the maximum mark is here, right? And that's the reason because of what I'll ask you not to invest much of your time into, in the introduction or the first line. Rather, you just go for a general introduction. I always used to say to apply the filter, and in fact, what is this filter? Like, this is how it is. So you apply with a broader dimension and narrow it down to the actual demand of the question. And that's how we'll be able to write a very good answer. So don't try to make it very beautiful. आप प्रेमचंद नहीं है, आप शेक्सपियर नहीं है, तो बनने की कोशिश भी नहीं करनी है शेक्सपियर और प्रेमचंद. एक ठीक है यार, एक वो होना चाहिए, इंट्रोडक्शन होना चाहिए जिसमें you have been writing okay, this is let's say you have been writing any answer on Harappan civilization. So in that case, you'll be writing some major dimensions of Harappan civilization. This was the period, this was the feature of civilization, these were the areas where it could be noticed, and then narrow it down to the actual demand of the question, and that is considered to be a very good answer, very good introduction. Then it comes to the body part. As I did tell you that the body part, it's not necessarily of one dimension. it may be as per the demand of the questions, it may be of one dimension and sometimes may be of many dimensions. Okay? There you need to make the balance. Okay? Now in the body part, that question very frequently comes to me, that whether you should go for a subjective mode or you can write the answers in a objective mode also. So here I'll suggest you that though ideally you're supposed to write in a subjective method, but practically you do not have this much time and the space to write a very elaborated answer, and that's why try to make a balance between these two, right? There should be a balance. There should be a balance between these two. Write something in a paragraph format, right? There's just 2 lines you wrote in a paragraph and then certain points, okay? 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. Then there is one more dimension. Again write a paragraph, okay? And then write certain points, narrow it down, or let's say write it or express your ideas in the point. While writing the points, don't only write the words. There are many people, they are writing only or indicating about the words. You are not supposed to write the point in the words, rather write the complete sentence, right? And if possible, write some examples, because that can make your answer really quite impressive, right? So this is what you can say for the body part, and at the end it comes to conclusion. Now when it comes to conclusion, like you should try to, it is not necessary, because normally our perception for the conclusion is, that we should write or we should conclude something. Unfortunately, in history, it is not very much applicable. It is not necessary that you are going to conclude the things completely or let's say altogether. Okay? So it's not possible. There are certain areas which are highly debatable, and in fact, they are always seen in terms of debate only, and that's why you should not try to conclude it. Because look, optional, you need to follow a different approach in optional and the general studies. In general studies, you are supposed to give some conclusion, or let's say supposed to give some suggestions and all. Like this possibility is there with you, right? But what is very important here, that in optional you cannot. In history optional you can't do such kind of thing. In history optional, basically you should go for a very balanced answer. If it is concluded by the historians, or there is a kind of broader consensus among historians, okay, this is how it should be seen, in that case you conclude it. If it is not concluded by the historians, they're still debating on this point, in that case don't ever try to conclude it by your own, because it is a kind of tampering with the subject. Like this is how you haven't studied it, and that's why you should you should avoid doing it. So this you keep in mind always, and that's why while writing the conclusion in history optional, always be neutral, always be very unbiased, because that's important, right? One more thing that could be tried by you in the conclusion while writing in history optional, that you can link it with the current sort of things. Okay? And there are several areas where you can really link it with the current, such as you have been writing any answer on urbanization, Harappan urbanization, so you linked it with the current urbanization or the smart cities. If you have been writing about the status of women or anything, like there are many areas where the possibility is there when you can link it with the link it with the current. So don't miss the opportunity ever to link it with the current. If it allows you, if it allows you, in that case definitely go for it. That is going to help you, right? That is definitely going to help you. So in the conclusion you need to keep in mind several such sort of things, right? So these are very generic suggestions that I had been giving you for the answer writing, right? These are certain suggestions, right? Very general suggestions, okay? General suggestions that I had been telling you, right? Now we need to come to some specific areas of the dimensions, right? So when it comes to some specific things, so one by one we'll discuss about it. Okay? The first area is the map area, and I have always seen confusion among the students that how to deal with it. Sometimes it is noticed that students or the aspirants always used to think that that they are supposed to score very good in this area. Of course, this is true. You have this opportunity to score very good in this area, but you have to have certain methods of dealing with in a proper way. Of course, to a greater extent, your preparation of this area is going to decide that what kind of score you have been going to get. But out of 20, if you are able to correct 15 to 17 sites, I think you are in a very good condition. And in fact, this is one area where you have been getting full marks, in fact. Okay? So you need to again first you be very particular about the sites, and in fact don't have any confusion that the site is very close, because even the UPSC people are not marking it in such a way which can really be 100% accurate as such. ठीक है, अगर थोड़ा इधर उधर है तो चलेगा, ठीक है, you write the name of that site, because in such a small map you cannot really differentiate or you cannot find the exact location of them, and that's the, हाँ, अगर किसी river के पास है और आप दूर है, इन सब चीज़ों से फर्क पड़ता है, but if you find them कि these are actually, you know, like suppose you have been talking about the Neolithic areas in the Mirzapur and the Allahabad region, so of course they are closely located, ठीक है, so I think, you know, चलेगा अगर आप एक की जगह दूसरे का नाम दे रहे हैं, but you just write the name of one. If you know the name of more, you know, name of more sites, ठीक है, write name of all the sites which are, you know, which are possible there, and then give the description of anyone, and that's going to get you, you know, complete mark. Sometimes I have seen the confusion with the students. They say कि they are asking very absurd kind of sites. Maybe they can ask, you know, absurd sites, but their number may not, you know, exceed than 1 or 2. Agar they are, if they are asking, let's say 1 or 2 absurd sites, so I think it's perfectly fine. There is no problem. I didn't ask you to correct, you know, all the 20 sites, because I think nobody ever I have heard that corrected all the 20 sites. I told you that if you have been doing it 15 to 17, I think you are in a upper category then, and that's why focus on the, you know, preparation that you have done, and in fact very easily you'll be able to catch 15 sites from there. That you always remember. This confidence should be there always. At least I'll be able to do correct, you know, 15 sites. ठीक है. The second thing, when it comes to the description, the descriptions are very important, and the majority of the marks was given for the description, and that's why in description you should be more particular of. And on the other hand, I have seen the students, they are more particular about the about identifying the sites, and description wala part has been ignored by them. So focus more on description, focus more on description, and in the description there are certain things that you have to keep in mind, and you need to prioritize them also, because that's leaving a good impression, you know, over the evaluator. Sorry. Right. So let's say, you know, there are certain, like if you remember the modern day district, the person who has discovered the site, if any river is passing through, you know, passing through that region. So if you know these kind of facts, always included, and every area does have some specifications, right? Specification किसी चीज के प्रोडक्शन के लिए हो सकता है, किसी चीज में पहला हो सकता है, टाइप, यू नो, टाइप साइट हो सकता है, ठीक है, तो वो जो चीजें हैं जो उसको खास बनाती है वो आपको जरूर लिखना चाहिए वहां पे, ये आप हमेशा ध्यान रखिए। तो जो स्पेसिफाइक, यू नो, स्पेसिफिक डिटेल्स है उन पे ज्यादा फोकस करिए रादर देन इन जनरल, यू नो, डिटेल्स, ठीक है। एंड इफ यू डू नॉट नो एनी स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर दैट साइट, राइट द जनरल डिटेल, दिस नो प्रॉब्लम, ठीक है, वो भी चलेगा, नंबर्स कम मिलेंगे, ठीक है। नाउ आफ्टर दैट, आफ्टर डीलिंग विद दिस मैप एरिया, you know, then in paper 1 the requirements are certain, you know, slightly different, and in paper 2 the requirements are slightly, you know, different, right? So paper 1 or paper 2 may you need to write the answers in a different way, like that you should always, you know, keep in mind. Now I think if you have done proper, you know, proper, what to say, proper R&D, research and development, like it's all about research not development, right? Proper R&D if you have done of the paper, in that case you'll be able to realize the nature of questions used to be different in paper 1 and paper 2, and the moment you move from paper 1, let's say from ancient to, you know, modern, the nature of questions are becoming simple, right? And in fact they are becoming more factual. That's how it happens. So basically what I'm trying to tell you, that in this area, like in paper 1, normally the questions are conceptual, right? And that's why while writing answers you need to also focus more on concepts, okay? If you have been focusing more on concepts, in that case the evaluator is getting happy, and then it's giving you, you know, he or she is giving you better marks. That you always keep in mind. In fact the questions are also like that, okay? In fact they are not coming straightforward, they are not asking the straightforward questions, they are making it tricky. They are asking the conceptual dimensions of the, you know, paper, and that's why here you should try to present your answers also in a quite conceptual way, that you can really, you know, attract the evaluator, you can really make him, him or her happy. That is one idea which should be there, okay? Now the second thing, like again here, as I had been highlighting in the last session, that there are certain key areas, okay, or let's say there are certain, what to say, there are certain, you know, important areas, okay, from where you can really find the question. So you just prepare them in such a way, important areas, okay, important areas, and in fact the moment you identify the important areas, there are certain key words in all these areas. the keywords are very important in your answers, because the keywords are somehow reflecting this, that what kind of understanding you have developed in the optional paper. And that's why always try to mug up the keywords, okay, and try to fit them desperately in your answer, such as the kinship relation, the legitimacy, the state formation, the social formation. These are certain terms in history which are very which are very interesting, specifically in the in the paper 1. Why? Because this was the period for the social formation. This was the period for the social formation. When I'm saying social formation, that does include many things. That does include, let's say, state formation, social formation, the social hierarchy, right? Stratification. So there are several keywords that we'll find with different topic. And suppose you have been writing about state formation, so like you need to use certain things such as the kinship society, the chiefdom society, and the state society, okay? The hierarchy or the stratification in the society. So try to play with those words, okay? Try to play with those words. And these words do have some intense meaning. They do carry several intense meanings, and in fact, just by mentioning those words, you have cleared this idea, or you have completely or clearly conveyed this idea to the evaluator कि the person does have a very good understanding, and that's why he or she has been using such kind of terms. So always learn how to play with the keywords, and that works more in paper 1. I must tell you repeatedly, I have been telling you that this is like more workable in paper 1. So try to shortlist the keywords since beginning, and I think you can do it right now also, and in fact do it and then just go for it. Take care. Apart from that, when I am saying highlighted areas, you may find that in certain areas, you may find the regular questions are being asked. Okay? Regularly questions are being asked, such as if you'll see the paper 2, like they have started asking the questions regularly on let's say they have started asking questions regularly on literature, language, right? तो अगर किसी एरिया से अगर लगातार सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, तो उसका मतलब ये होता है कि आपको वो एरिया थोड़ा देख रहा है, ठीक है? जैसे कुछ सालों से वो लैंग्वेज लिटरेचर से वो बहुत क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, तो इसका मतलब है कोई स्पेसिफिक सोर्सेस को देख लेना है. तो ये सब भी एक आंसर राइटिंग का पार्ट है, दैट यू हैव ऑलरेडी आइडेंटिफाइड दोज की एरियाज, सो दैट्स हाउ यू आर डूइंग इट, राइट? सो दैट आल्सो यू नीड टू कीप इन माइंड. Now I mean to say the next thing that I can discuss here, that the sources do play very important role, because the way I ask you to mention the keywords, in the same way I'll ask you to mention the sources as well, right? In ancient and to a certain extent in medieval also, the sources do play very important role, because the historicity is a bit doubtful, and when you refer the sources, that's somehow giving an extra weightage to your answer, and that's why learn this habit of mentioning the sources. Now it may confuse you that how to remember all these sources. If you'll sit calmly, if you'll sit patiently and then think calmly, I must tell you that you won't find that there are 1,000 sources. There are just 10 to 20 sources, and that you can keep on revolving, and then you can use them in multiple places. There are different sort of sources. As far as archaeology is concerned, there are inscriptions, there are coins, and there are some copper plates. Okay? These are major sources, and you can use them in such a way in different places. In different places. As far as literary sources are concerned, there are certain Vedic texts, and you can remember the name of them. Then there are some other texts, such as some Indian secular texts, and then some foreign texts. There are only these sources. So, and as far as medieval is concerned, I must tell you that there are 10 books. If you remember the name of all these 10 books, I am damn sure that you'll be able to play with them, right? So there, suppose you have learn about Burney. You have you have just seen Samse Sira Safif. So सल्तनत पीरियड के जो है, अगर बर्नी को देख लिया, शम्स सिरा ज़फ़ीफ़ को देख लिया, तो मिडीवल का काम, जो सल्तनत पीरियड का काम हो जाता है. अगर आपने जो है अबुल फजल को देख लिया और बदायूनी को देख लिया, ठीक है, तो मुगल का काम निकल जाता है, ठीक है. So you have to somehow shortlist these important books which could be referred in the maximum places, and then try to prepare them with respect to the sources, so you'll be able to remember it, right? The sources do play very important role, because it is always giving you some extra weightage, and that's why you keep in mind and try to apply that in the in paper 1. And the last thing I'll tell you in paper 1, that is historiography. Okay? Historiography. In fact, in many of my early videos, I have always emphasizing on the historiography. But now again in historiography, you should make a balance. Sometimes when I said ki historiography is important, like some people are taking it blindly, and they are taking it blindly, or they are just trying to apply it blindly, and they try to or they try to get as many numbers of the name of historians are possible for them in the answers. Look, you don't need to mention many historians. You need to basically mention the various ideas for a single topic, and that's how you can impress the evaluator, rather than by writing many names you are going to evaluate it, you are going to impress the evaluator. And that's why for every dimension, if it is possible for you, remember one name or max to max two names, okay, if it is applicable. In all the questions this is not applicable, don't try to apply it, okay. Wherever it is applicable, wherever the question is of the question is having the nature of debate, try to apply it. That would be the best way of doing it, right? So that's one thing. The second thing I'll say here also, paper 1 it is more applicable, that in paper 2 there are always key scope of making some diagrams, pictures or maps and some other thing. So try to somehow include them as well. Now the point is that, because I have seen that some of the selected candidates also used to ask this question, that where to fit them properly and what kind of diagrams or the map we are supposed to make. I think this you need to practice at your place only, in your house only, okay? So you just try to find out some areas where you can convey your ideas in a more lucid manner by making these things. Suppose the question is asking on the routes of trade in the Harappan civilization. I think you should not waste your time by giving the description of these. Rather make a map, okay, like locate the important places on them, and then write the name if it is possible for you, and that's it, and then give a very general description, right? So whenever the maps or any as such thing which is helping you to convey your ideas to the evaluator, go for it, right? That should be the ideal way of doing it. Don't try to fit it, because that's going to bounce back also. Now when it comes to paper 2, in paper 2 the nature is slightly different. It seems to be more factual, rather than conceptual. And that's why here the mentioning of more number of facts can really help you. So in paper 2 is very different, and you should prepare it in that way. You should try to mention the things also in the same way, like it is completely, I think, opposite to the paper 1, right? So basically if we'll see the paper 2, we'll find that certain themes are very important. खासकर अगर आप वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री की बात करेंगे तो कुछ खास एरियाज है जहां से ये लोग सवाल पूछते हैं या फिर पूछना शुरू किया है, ठीक है? तो उन एरियाज को पकड़िए, और खासकर इन पेपर 2, नॉट इवन इन वर्ल्ड बट इवन इन मॉडर्न आल्सो आई हैव नोटिस दैट देयर आर सर्टेन आइसोलेटेड टॉपिक्स or let's say ignored topics so far, like these have become important to them these days, and they have been asking the questions from it, right? So what you need to do, you have to include, you have to just go through these topics, and I think a basic information can really help you to write the answers of these questions. That is really, that is perfectly fine. So basically prepare these areas, okay? Just try to catch them on the basis of certain themes. Factual informations are really very important here, right? So that is the reason because of what you have to, you have to write, you have to, if you have been doing it in this way, in that case you'll be able to write a better answer, okay? Rest, what I can say, that in this particular area, certain references, okay, then certain quotations, these are also making your answer beautiful, okay? It's logically applied in paper 2, it is rewarded in paper 2, and that's why in paper 2 you should remember these kind of things, okay? In paper 2 their evaluation is slightly simple as compared to paper 1, I must tell you, and that's the reason because of what a general answer can also get you better mark, and that's why you should learn this, develop this habit of including more facts, the quotation, the references, okay? You should try to start your answers with certain references or the quotations, okay? And in fact the best way of doing this or remembering these quotations would be just go through the questions of last few years and arrange them topic wise, okay? You can even download it from our website, I think it is there also. So you can arrange them topic wise and then use them as the reference, as the quotation, because these are mostly the quotations by some historical personalities, or let's say the authors, right? So this could be also used. So the reverse pattern can be also applied. So this is going to help you in paper 2, right? So that's how in paper 1 and paper 2 there are different requirements, and you need to make the answers or write the answers as per the requirement. So that is going to help you a little bit, right? As I told you earlier also, if you really wish to know more, you can consult some of the videos there which are there on our platform. So these are really going to be helpful for you. So that's it. So thank you all of you. Thank you very much. And I hope it is useful for you. Thank you.